It is May 16, and it seems to me that this podcast is coming to an end. It emerged 2 years ago with three main goals: to keep listeners informed about what's happening in Ukraine, to maintain my journalistic skills, and to earn money for my parents and daughter. Initially, everything worked and was genuinely interesting and useful. Now, after 2 years, I have serious doubts about the project's continued viability. The whole world already understands what is really happening in Ukraine, the terrible price we are paying fighting the war against Russian invaders, and the extent of our losses. I simply have nothing more to add to this. I have already told everything I could. There are, of course, many other interesting things that I haven't shared, but I won't share them even in the future because they could be useful to the enemy or could hurt the feelings of people around me. I don't want that at all. So in reality, I've already told you everything I could. It's no longer feasible to continue the podcast and keep myself in shape as a journalist simply because I can't. I just don't have the right to tell much of what I know. It's becoming increasingly difficult for me to find something new and interesting that I could talk about without harming our cause. I'm forced to repeat myself and sometimes say banal things. Obviously, this does not embellish me as a journalist, but I'm no longer just a journalist. I am a soldier, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to return to my old profession, although, of course, I would really like to. The monetization that initially helped me, indeed, it saved my parents in the early weeks of the war, allowed me to pay for their housing and medical care, ensured that my daughter was provided with everything she needed, and allowed me to buy the necessary equipment for myself. This monetization has almost disappeared. Listeners are transferring less and less money. So everything that this podcast started for has been exhausted. At least it seems so to me. That's why I'm considering ending it. I don't want to completely break with journalism, so I want to move to the Substack platform where I plan to publish new texts weekly, perhaps sometimes more often, and also add old ones about the Middle East, for example, that have never been published in English before. This could be interesting and probably a bit easier for me. In this episode description, there is an email where you can send your thoughts and wishes regarding the future of the podcast. Maybe you have ideas on how to make it relevant, interesting, and profitable again. Or perhaps you have other advices. Write it to me. Within a week, until next Friday, I will make a decision on what to do with this project. Close it and move on, or try to breathe new life into it. Help me decide.